Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Threadlings of Filmmaking Production Diary. I am Miguel Ortega, and this is Tran.
Hello, everyone.
How's everybody doing? Happy Threadling Day. That's funny. Hello, hello. Let's see who else we have here.
Hey, Ruben.
Sohi, Ruben. How are you guys? So, yeah, we're talking about the making of a animated short film in Unreal Engine. And yeah, let's go.
Okay, so I'll start off this week. Uh, we've both been busy doing different things. I've gotten the sequences like that Miguel has edited and framed and all that stuff over onto.
I like Brandon from Ryback. That's funny.
That's,
Hey, hey.
hey. Uh, anyway, I've gotten all the sequences into my computer, into my project, and what I've been doing is just like a polish pass. So basically, not all the cloth was simulated and there was no hair. So you're actually seeing Mayo with hair for the first time. So I'll play it. There's no sound though, because I don't deal with any of that. That's all Miguel stuff.
So you can see the lighting is changed dramatically, which we always knew was going to change. We always knew that we wanted it to feel, it had to feel like nighttime because of the story. But the original lighting we had was just whatever lighting Tran had originally created for, so basically for the modeling and texturing and look development. But I wanted this to look like nighttime. So Tran went in, she's working on this. I'm already on to a completely different sequence. I'm working on the stuff that happened right before this. So she's just trying to make it look more horror film, nighttime, very theatrical. And the big thing is trying to get this like old Universal, you know, guy walking down a London street transforming kind of vibe, even though it's happening indoors. But that's really the kind of vibe we're trying to go with this. So very theatrical lighting, added all the big candles because remember they're little guys, so the
So that,
scale had to read.
yeah, I don't know if you want to pull up the old one or should I
I
do
could
it?
I could open it up.
Yeah, it's probably maybe faster.
But yeah, so you can see all of these. Mayo has the full cloth sim, so does Cot, and Mayo now has his hair, which has been a pain in the ass to get
Oh
the
yeah,
hair. So we,
super,
yeah.
so such a pain.
So the big thing is the hair in Unreal just does not look as good as you would want it to look like if you compare it to like V-Ray or
Oh
Arnold
yeah,
or anything like.
it's a the shaders on a completely other level.
So
Uh,
yeah, so you just have to work with these limitations. You have to do some insane tricks in order to get it to work. Like one of the things that I found to be insane is, for example, the roots, how they connect to the head. You actually had to make them brighter to counter the fact that there was just this weird like halo effect that was being created, or because the hair is blonde. The blonde hair is the freaking worst. If this hair was black or brown or dark, whatever, easy. The minute it's like this kind of silver blonde, it's just a nightmare. So we had to deal with the shader quite a bit to get it to work. We went into panic mode this week. We were like, okay, we're gonna have to do this all with Path Tracer. We started rendering it in Path Tracer, and Path Tracer looks incredible. Like no doubt about that. It looks insane, but the render times, they're not high, but there's we just don't need that extra
yeah,
hurdle.
no, it's an extra step that it adds up in time. Like basically, if I try to explain it, when the hair gets very light, or particularly is furry, right? So hair can be shiny, and when you look at something like this cat that's white and fluffy, um, the shadows never go very dark because the fur actually scatters light. So the hair itself does. I won't. This is probably inaccurate, but it has like a subsurface um, scattering effect, and and you can get that in all the shaders that are like or these renderers are offline. So
Like a
like,
translucency effect more than subsurface shader, but it's kind of the same thing. The way that the light travels through the object.
yeah, that's a drawing. But whereas if you bring this into Unreal, it doesn't act like this at all. And the shadows become very dark and it's very shiny. So it's great if you're like making a character with darker hair, and hair, not fur. So it's been really tough. So this groom has gone through multiple iterations,
Yeah.
and this is the iteration that it has landed on.
Yeah. So we did get help from Alina, who,
Who's a Yeti expert?
yeah, and it looked cool. It looked great, but we started getting some shadows. So things have to be adjusted. Uh,
Yeah, once it gets into the shot, and that's the thing. Like it went through once we put it into the shot, it went through like more versions. So there's several versions before this version that you're seeing, and it's just difficult.
because the original idea is I wanted him to feel like he's very much inspired by Beaker. He's like Beaker meets Vanilla Ice. Like that's always what I wanted him to look like. And
And
So I
Beaker's
wanted the hair on the top to be more scraggly and messed up looking, kind of like Eraserhead. So it's really like Eraserhead meets Beaker meets Vanilla Ice, right? So that's what I wanted, and that did not work at all. It created all kinds of depth of field issues, shading issues. When the hair was like swooping forward, kind of like Vanilla Ice, it was creating this horrific shadow underneath. So it looked like there was like a cave above his forehead. So that had to be
yeah.
adjusted.
And if you look at here, there's a lot of the shadows never go black, right? So that's something that the Unreal Hair Shader can't do. Um, you can do this in Path Tracer where you get the lifted, like again, it doesn't get dark. So it's very hard to explain in a way, but it's like just technical CG things. And you know, that's why this looks so fluffy. I don't even think this is hair. I don't, you know, it's fake.
Yeah, that's totally fake.
It's some kind of like, but you can see a lot of light passes through that. You can tell the eyes, like if you look at this here, these eyeballs don't have subsurface scattering or any kind of light scattering because look how dark the shadows are. Even though this is white, its local color is much brighter than this one. But you can see that the shadows are actually brighter on this hair than on the eyeball. So that's kind of like the issue, just to kind of sum it up. But yeah, do you want to show the previous stuff?
Yeah. Um, where is it? So yeah, you can see how dramatically different it is here. So you can see it's much more daylight, much flatter.
Mayo looks terrible.
Mayo looks terrible here. So when we started looking at this, we're like, God, there's so much textural detail on his face. Yet when I look at this, it looks like a smudge. So there's also these lines here that just don't read like anything. Like they're supposed to feel like just crinkles in the fabric, and they just look terrible. So that went back into texturing. You can see this. It just feels kind of flat. And I wanted this like London after midnight, Lon Chaney feel. Uh,
I don't know if we should split screen or is that weird? It's fine.
you could split screen it. Let's see if it works.
Oh, mine's not really framed correctly. Hold on, let's try. What is it? Control tilde. Maybe it has to be like this. There we are.
Yeah, but you could see much more dramatic and cinematic on the right hand side.
And the color is a little bit more rich.
The big thing is this is not really nighttime lighting either. Like one of the things I always talk to the Gnomon students about is nighttime lighting doesn't exist. Nighttime lighting means close your eyes and go into the closet, right? So when you think of nighttime lighting, you're thinking about Hollywood's version of nighttime lighting, which is this kind of cool silvery blue light. That's not real, right? But that's fine. That's what we wanted. We wanted this fake cinematic look. Theatrical look is really the word. So that's that. And then Mayo falling up. The original one, you can see he doesn't have his real hair. Oh, this is something that we added. So you can see we have our aspect ratio. And what I wanted to do is as Mayo falls up, he adjusts
The shot, the framing,
the
which is
aspect
fun.
ratio. Yeah. Boop. It scales up, and then he runs across it, and then we're back to normal aspect ratio. But as he falls up, he changes it.
Let's start. Can we split the first shot?
Yeah.
Because I don't have any more shots after that. There we are. So you can see comparison. Also, a couple things in Caught. He went through some texture changes too. So his eyes, I retextured his irises to be larger, so he looks more cute. I don't know if you can get Mayo in there. Mayo is dramatically different. There we are. So Mayo was adjusted a lot.
So you can see the hair. The hair adds so much because his hair looks like the poop emoji on the left.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. But even like his facial texture, he looked kind of dead. So like, Mayo now has a fake eye highlight that's just textured in.
Yeah.
Um,
Because he has butthole eyes, so there's no way that the light is gonna go into, like, literally they say where the sun don't shine. Well, the problem is was the sun needs to shine and give that specular highlight. So we just put a fake specular highlight on the eye.
yeah.
But he has butthole eyes. That was always the point.
Yeah. So he went through retexturing. I had to rework the master material. So it was a lot of stuff. And again, the hair was a pain. But yeah.
And you
And
can
then
see that it just looks so much better, I think, on the right. More again horror film, which is the whole point of this whole thing.
and just trying to bring like the candle light flickering back in. Caught went through a lot of stuff. I don't know if he's going to turn his head back, but we haven't really talked about it. But Caught went through some dramatic changes on his face.
On the rig,
Yeah, on the facial stuff. So like if you look here,
it was a lot and an expensive thing that we had to do. Yeah.
yeah,
So we re-rigged his face entirely in the past few weeks. Kicked it back to our friend Shraga that does the face rig. He's the face lead at Blur. Um, he's really good. The previous shapes that we had, Cot could never feel scared. For some reason, there was not a lot of stuff happening on his brow. So redoing that meant kicking everything back to rigging. It was a freaking nightmare, but anyway, that's what we did.
yeah. So you can see it here.
Can you change the aspect ratio? I don't know. I want to try to push that a little bit more on this film. Like I was even thinking like you could have caught, like for example, like jump out of the aspect ratio. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of them like flying. There's going to be a lot of them like flying around as they're running away from Zort. So I want to try to push that as much as possible. In terms of can you do that? I think you'd have to tell the theater initially that you're gonna do that because they actually crop the frame to the aspect ratio with the curtains. So if you don't tell them that, like when this happens, you literally won't even notice it. Um, but yeah, I thought that was a cool little thing just to have Mayo break out of the mold. But anyway, I think that the lighting on the right, like just the candles and everything, it feels so much more cinematic, I think. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's the progress so far.
Well, there's much more progress than just that. So the other thing is, so we're having this issue right now, which is driving us crazy, which is we're getting some shots in from some of our animators and they just do not line up at all. Like whatever they're giving us is just completely freaking different. So that's been super stressful trying to figure out what that is. And then, I could show the thing that Celine is working out, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, maybe you can just take the whole screen now. There you are.
Yeah. So he's not going to be naked at all, but this is just how it's kind of funny. This is how he's being animated. So there's a scene in the beginning where Mayo is asleep. His eyes should look like they're closed here. They're not yet, but he's acting like he's sleeping, right? And he's gonna have a blanket over him. Again, he's not gonna be naked at all. But seeing him like this is pretty funny. So we did animate a little thingy on him, uh, which there might be we might have a shot with it in it. So yeah, this will be him like pretending like he's sleeping, and then Cod is gonna say, "If you don't hurry up, if you don't get up, I'm gonna go without you," and that's why he snaps awake.
He looks, yeah.
And that's what he snaps up, and then he's gonna fall up to the ceiling to get up.
What do we do about that ear? I guess it has to be shot model.
No, we're doing a. I'm gonna make a blend shape that pushes the ears all the way forward and then all the way back, and then add that into the rig. So they'll be able to animate that.
Okay.
But you could shot model that, but I
Oh.
just think we should have a blend shape
Yeah, that's probably better. It says Mayo sleeping.
in his little bed.
Yeah. They won't, obviously, like Miguel said, he won't be naked, but we have to see it like this because we have to judge, like, 'cause all the cloth gets simulated. So when we're looking at this version, it's like making sure that the cloth can be simulated on it. This one's difficult because there's a lot of contact points for the cloth simulation. So it would be a tricky one to get done.
So funny. It's so funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, he looks like a little duck. Yeah, he does look like a little duck.
Yeah. You know, these guys, their design is a little weird. That's what we're doing.
So the idea in terms of why he's nude, so they just went to try to tell the teacher that they saw this guy get killed outside. You guys have seen that sequence already. And then he walks in as if nothing happened, and all of a sudden they look like liars. So then this next scene where they're like, we got to find out what's going on, and they follow Zort. At this time it's nighttime, so it's moth hours, I guess moth hour. All the cloth people have to go to sleep because the moths come out at night. So everybody hides except for the candles, but candles kill moths, so that's okay. So they all hide, and Zort, they're following Zort. That's why there's nobody around, and they see Zort acting really bad here. So he's telling them that they're failures, that they let Zort die. Zort being him, so that he's talking like if he's a different person. And then when Zort comes after them, there's going to be this big chase scene, and Zort is going to grab onto Mayo's pants and rip his pants off. And then they're going to be screaming, moths, moths, moths. And then when they finally wake everybody up and the professor comes out, Mayo's going to be completely pantless, saying that Zort is a moth. And then Zort is going to appear completely normal, saying those kids attacked him. And the next scene will be them in detention. They're going to be in trouble, not only because they're psychotic saying that he's a moth, but they're running around naked through the halls. So they just look like crazy psychos. So
Yeah. So
needless
Mayo,
to say, not a Disney movie if you have a little duck naked.
yeah.
So,
So Mayo loses his pants. Yeah.
yeah. So this is just going to feel so much better with that nighttime lighting anyway in general. Like when I saw this, like I'm like, "Oh my god, this would look so much better with the blue light keeping this much more in shadow." So I can't wait for that. I also got to get some kind of effect for Kot's magic here. So he does illuminate a blue glow, but I have to get a little bit more than just that. What else? Oh, this is a shot that I completely tweaked yesterday. This is based off some of the motion capture. So this shot was a shot that we were never really happy with. So Kot's performance in particular. So just going back in there and changing that. The tough thing is in the original one, could probably find it. In the original one, he turns back in shame a little bit, like this. The problem with that is there's a dead guy talking to him. So we felt like we need that hit, emotional hit, but we can't have him not look like if
You're
there's
still
a
gonna be more freaked
you're
out.
gonna be more freaked out than ashamed, right? So we're like, okay, how can we get that sense of shame? So you can see he feels a little bit bad, but he's still like not gonna lose his eye contact with the dead body that's talking to him. Hands are not cleaned up here, and the cloth sim is not there, but and then you can see Mayo's like, you're not a failure. Like he's totally supporting his friend like always. So that's all completely different. What else? Just cleaning. So when we did our motion capture shoot like a week ago, I never processed all the shots, so I had to process like 180 shots. So that's a lot of invisible progress.
Yeah. And again, the face stuff that we changed and caught is a lot.
Yeah.
Um, his face is actually a little bit smoother, especially around the mouth area. So I don't know. We're pretty happy with how it's coming along and how the polish is, like the more polished pass is looking.
Yeah. And what else, Tram?
Well, there's some questions here. There's one here. Hi guys, amazing work, world class in every way. Thank you. The mocap data looks amazing. Seems that it does not need cleanup at all. Can you specify how much does the mocap suit cost?
Oh, I did not see that message at all.
That's a good question.
Okay, so that's a tricky question. So the suit costs, I think it's you could get the Awinda. I think it's like $3,000 or $4,000, but you have to be careful. There, it's a great suit, right? But you have to not careful, but you have to keep in mind that the license is the expensive part. Okay, so the suit is $3,500, $4,000, but then I think they give you 6 months of the license for free, and then after that you have to pay $500 a month to use it, which is so you have to keep that in mind. $500 a month is no chump change. That being said, you're not going to be motion capturing for 12 months of the year, and if you are, you probably don't care because you're making money, right? So let's say, for example, we'll do motion capture uh, in total, like for Voice in the Hollow, we probably did 6, 7 shoots, right? Now we did that across different times. So let's just say we would have done it across 2 or 3 months. $1,500 to capture all that motion capture. Suits aside is not a big deal. On this, we've now done 4 days for Threadlings. We could have gotten that all in one day. So if you had to pay $500 to do that, that's fine. But you just have to keep that in mind. Then they have a $6,000 one. So we have the $6,000 one, and we have the $3,000 one, or the $3,500 one. That doesn't include the gloves. The gloves are like $3,000 as well. But the $6,000 suit and the $3,500 suit are essentially the same, except it comes with much less accessories, and those accessories are actually really useful. Like the charging dock is really awesome, whereas the other one you have to
Oh yeah, it's like scary.
connect every sensor to essentially a USB-C. So then you get a spider web of like these sensors all plugged into one single hub with a bunch of string. It looks like a mess. So it is actually worth buying the $6,000 one, I think. And then the gloves are are expensive because it's just for the hands, and it's as much as the whole body. But yeah, it's really cool. So there is still cleanup. I'll show you like some of the cleanup because I probably have a file here that I could open. Are we using Alembic? We're entirely Alembic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't get away from it. Like there's so many, it's just a proper pipeline for film, you know?
So this is completely raw motion capture here. So not bad. It's pretty good. You know, the hands, I would probably give them a pass. So let's go to my custom here. Probably go to my studio library. I definitely would go in and mess with this a little bit. So let's see. So you could go in here and just adjust the poses a little bit, or do whatever you you want to add to this. But there's some interpenetration there, so that would have to get fixed. But all this stuff is fairly simple. So like if you wanted to address that, for example, I could just come in here, create an animation layer, just add that guy into that. Did I already bake this? I'm not sure if I baked this. I think I haven't baked this. Oh, it is baked. So why is it not letting me do this? That's weird. For some reason, it does not want to let me adjust it. Oh, it is not baked. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Okay. So I could just add this. So now I could just adjust this a little bit, add a keyframe there. So now the arm doesn't interpenetrate, and that's going to just propagate across the whole thing. So that's pretty easy. Hand poses, I would probably mess with this here. Let me see. I have to figure out what's going on here. I'm getting some weird okay, there it goes. So let me find my hands. Select this stuff here. Where is it? There you go. So now I could go in there and like really quickly kind of hit a pose that I might want. So I could say I want this hand, I want this hand. So I have like a whole library of different poses for the hand. So I don't have to do it every single time. So I could be like, okay, he's freaked out. What would he probably have? So like that one's kind of nice. So I could just come in here and add that keyframe. Right, and over here, maybe I could start blending it like so. Okay, so you could just go in there and start tweaking it. But what's cool is like I could select any one of these hands. I could select this one and then control the blend between the two poses. So there's definitely some weird pops there on that finger. And that glove was acting weird the day we shot this, so I'm not surprised at all that this is happening.
Yeah.
It was actually acting horrible that day. So maybe like this.
Here's a nice comment. I don't know if you showed this. From Rob Jacob. Hello, the cloth style and the characters look so good. Make a series from it.
Yeah, I did not share that one. Yeah, we're trying to. We're trying to. You know, we've had people that really wanted to make something with this. Some big shot people. It's just the stuff is expensive.
Yeah. The idea is that we make something appealing enough to get funding.
Yeah. So you can see you could just go in there and quickly do adjustments like that. So I could come in here and try to figure out why the hell that finger is messed up. So we could just go into animation or graph editors. And that's rotating on. So let's see the rotations here. Seems like it's like this guy here. So I'm just going into the curves and seeing if there's anything wonky going on. So that's coming from this here. But yeah, anyway, that's the cleanup process that is a pain in the ass for sure.
Yeah, most of this stuff involves like that kind of fun stuff. But that's the reality of all this stuff.
Yeah. So let's see.
I could show some stuff too.
Yeah, you should show stuff because this is not fun.
Yeah. My stuff's not really fun either. But I'll show you what I'm doing. So there's a couple of things that I'm processing at the moment. One, Maya is in the middle of exporting the limbic cache, and it's for this next shot that I'm about to relight. So when I get it, this doesn't look exactly like what Miguel lit. It's changed a little bit, and it's not lit. But it's it's fine because I'm going to adjust everything anyway. And as far as how I work, and this is lessons learned from Voice in the Hollow, is that if you look at my content browser, these folders are all different shots. I like to have one map per shot. because it it was super unstable in Voice and Hollow. So we would have like one level, and there would be multiple sequences in it, and it just got really unstable, and it would break, and then all the lighting would break. Then you would open up your sequence, and then your lighting is all super screwed up. And you're sitting there trying to fix it. Um, I did not like that. It like drove me completely bonkers. And it's not a big deal to really do that, because if you look at like the project files, a map file is about 1.5 megabyte. So I just like to work like this. In this way, it makes it more free. So we have shot structure, and then some alembics, and then level sequence, and then the map in here. Um, so when I start off, it might look something like this, not really lit well. And then what I'm going to do immediately is just pop out of here. You can see it's like really evenly lit. I know it needs to be moodier. When I make this set, I created a directional light and an HDR. And what I've done is just disable this. I don't delete it though. So I'm going to hide that so that we don't have that anymore. And then I go through the scene looking for any extra lights I don't need. I'm going to get rid of these. You can see like the outliner has so much stuff. So anything that I can reduce, I'm going to try to reduce. And I've been getting rid of these rectangle lights. I actually like to light with spotlights. And then I don't think it's really moody enough. So if I come back here, it doesn't really quite get so dark. Also, another thing, if you notice, one thing that we also implemented was ambient occlusion in the material. So if you look around Caught, his nose is a little bit darker.
That comes from us looking at the path tracer renders and thinking, why does this look more tactile? And we started noticing a lot more shading around certain areas, and that's when I was like, okay, we got to go in and and create something in the shader to pull that up.
Yeah, and it feels more like what Miguel was saying, tactile. So it really helps. The next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop in my HDRI, and I'm going to hide that too.
I just want to say, like, that's one of the things that I found very useful about the path tracer is don't look at it as something that should be discouraging, that you go, oh crap, this thing is so much better than what we're doing. Like, you could kind of use it to look at it and be like, okay, what am I missing here? And can some of that stuff be done through shaders or changing your lighting? So
Yeah. With Unreal, your lighting, you have to light for the shot. Like it's much better than it was in Voice in the Hollow. Like I'm a lot happier with how Lumen is now, but you still have to like follow certain things. Like one thing I noticed, like, is things don't really look good in indirect light, meaning just like bounce light or whatever's happening. It just tends to look kind of crappy. So if there was a scenario where it was like nighttime and there's only indirect light, we would probably overlight it and darken it in post or something like a technique very similar to like day for night or something like that, because it will look more like the surfaces of these characters will look better. What I'm doing now is I'm just splitting my screen because I can't move. I want to see my shot, and I can't move around too much. I usually also expand this window here really large, because the larger my window is it's going to be a bigger drain on my graphics card. So this is why this is like massive like this. It's kind of ridiculous. Um, but that's so that it doesn't crash. If when I split my screen, it is heavier to have two screens on my computer. That's why this one stays unlit and I can't see super well, but I have an idea of the spatial distance. So here, there's things I'll probably want to keep. there's just lighting here. I don't know if I need these. So these are lights that flicker, right? They have a light function in them right here. So if I pull this up, I am not seeing the flickering. Give me 1 second. Maybe we can see it in the master material. Yeah, there you are. And how I built this, I just looked at some tutorial. We made these on Voice and Hollow. It's very mathematical. I don't quite understand the math because I'm not that technical, but this is good enough. What I have is speed, right? So I can control the speed and how dark it can get. So you can see it pulses between light and dark. So I have a value for the minimum, which is black right now, and 1 to get that effect. I'll just kill that. I'm not sure I need these lights. I'll hide them. Yeah, I probably don't need them. Might delete them later, just because I think that if you have a lot of lights in your scene, when it renders, it can get unstable, and I don't really want that. I will find this one a little bit more challenging. So in these shots, I just put a bunch of candles over here so that they have a reason to light him. I don't have quite a reason. I mean, I could put a candle here and let's see what it does. Let me try if there's a different candle, because I've been using the same candle over and over. And these candles have like 2, so there's a model, there's a light, and there's 2 Niagara things going on. I didn't make these. One is the flame and the other one's the smoke. I just bought them through the marketplace and they're pretty good. I also bought the candle, not through the marketplace, but like on CG Trader or something. And I had to do a lot of changes to it. And then the light fixture was made by me. This floor is cutting through. That's really weird. Okay, so now I have like a candle here. Okay, it doesn't get in the shot at all, which is not bad. It's like really high. I always try to put something, but I think that's going to get in the way of Mayo. So I kind of don't need this. What I kind of do like though is like the smoke. So maybe I'll just like ditch the candle. I mean, can't really tell it's there. And just have a smoke element, but I'll keep this here. And the reason for that is I might need it in a different shot. And I'll bring up this light, which is way too dark. And I still don't see it. Okay, so that now there's some light here. And then what I'll do is I'll pull one of these lights here that has a flicker and try to use that as a way to light caught. And, you know, again, there's some hint at something there. The one thing I have to be really careful about is just like taking the attention away from the character. Oh, it looks like I didn't duplicate the flame. Nope. So let me steal a flame from one of these. They have so much stacked on top of them that I just can't tell. So what I mean by like being careful about taking attention away from the characters, like this flame will be really bright, and if I'm not careful, it will be very distracting. You know, like, does that help the shot, or are we just looking at the fire? You know, for me, I just try to put it in, and if it doesn't work, I just move it to the side. But so those are things I'm keeping in mind. And then I'll try to move this over. Okay. Now, okay, that might be too distracting. Maybe I don't have to have it there to justify the lighting. Now, the light here, you know, this would light more like a point light, meaning it would expand. But I really think that spotlights, in my experience, produce better lighting onto the face. So maybe I'll have something like that. And then we have this flickering effect. This candle is like really black. So I can adjust the subsurface scattering. And it doesn't always like do what I think it's supposed to do. Okay. I'm going to use a material parameter, which is something that's built into the master material. And if we take a look, it just gives me like control over a bunch of stuff. So I have albedo, roughness, and SSS. And you attach it into the shader. And then I can come in here, adjust the subsurface multiply, bring it up, and it's doing something. Sorry, it went to negative value. It's still not quite illuminating it. Sometimes it's just, maybe the candle is really thick. Or maybe the attenuation is really low. Okay. So attenuation controls how much the light spreads. On this light, as I increase it, you can see it's lighting mayo now. And I don't really want that. I'd rather have a specific control. You know, when I'm streaming this stuff, I feel very slow as I'm working. But when I'm doing it, it doesn't feel that way. Okay. And I want to hit the light more directly on his face as much as I can. So okay, so there is a shadow here. What is casting? Something's casting shadow. Maybe it is actually this light. Okay. So I can do a couple things. When I have this hard shadow, I can increase the source length. And at 0, shadows are very sharp. And it's coming from this candlelight. It just changed it to 10. Now it's softer. So now we have light contribution from this one. I always want to know what my lights are doing. I'm not sure I want this to contribute so much. Let's just change this back to 2. I'll worry about the candle in a little bit. Well, no. Let's bring it back to 10. And let's change the attenuation to 100 so it doesn't expand. Because I'd rather control it through something like this. Let's move it forward. Okay, so when he's here, this light is lighting him. As he steps away, the light becomes weaker. If I increase the intensity of this light, it will lighten him up more, but he'll be too bright when he hits this point. So what I'll do instead is just make another light. So it's all like, you know, it's just faking this stuff. And, you know, maybe it's an opportunity coming back here. You know, should he be in the shadow, come into the light? I don't, probably not, because this story-wise doesn't make so much sense. Okay, that's too bright. Let's pull it back. Okay, it's better. Now, I like the lighting that Miguel got on the shot, like how he looked on the other one. But it can't be the same because it's moodier and the other one's more evenly lit. So we'll see. What I'm gonna do here is
that was all throwaway though. You just
yeah, but I kind of liked it. That's the thing.
you liked it compared to the rest of it, but it still was not good.
Yeah. What I did here on this light is give it a different flickering speed. So I have a few materials. They all come from the same master material. And these are the instances. And they just have like different speeds on them so that the flickering is not all the same. Because it wouldn't be the same. So it's just to make it look a little bit more natural. Okay. Now Mayo is still in the dark, which is fine because we'll take this light here and light him up. So he's also out of focus. He's so cool in this shot, but
Yeah, but that's why he's cool. He's cool because it's not even a thing.
he's just back here,
He's
all
just
out
in
of
the
focus.
back. Yeah.
I'll give this a different flickering, so they're all flickering different. And I think here, you know, the shadow is really dark. I don't know if I want that. I do have a blue light here. So there's like, when you look back here, there's like a blue cast of light. It's coming from here, these guys. So you can see one of them's turned off. Maybe I'll turn them both off at the same time. Right, so it just gives it like, it's very just atmospheric. It really is just kind of like a blue fog. There's a question here. Are there like false color or scope and other such tools to see or expose it the right way you want? I'm not.
There is, but we never use it. It's in the it's in there for sure.
When I light, I'm just completely
If
not.
it looks good, it is good.
Yeah, I'm not technical at all. I like, you know, sometimes it blows out, it clips, but I kind of like that because that's what happens in real life. So we definitely don't aim for perfection.
We aim for perfection in the sense that we know real life is imperfect.
Yeah, Miguel puts it better. Okay, so that's filling him in. It's a little too bright. I also think maybe the color temperature, I just want to have it be more blue. So now I think this looks better. You know, if I go back to the old one, like this one here I just did versus this one, it looks kind of green and pukey. This blue one feels more like a shadow, and it's not. It's very stage lighting. That's how we work. Um, let's try moving it around. There is like a core shadow on his face. I don't really like with those kind of principles. I I feel with he looks better on his face, more uniformly lit. So I'll turn that off. I'd like to try a couple things. It might just bomb. Let's increase like the fog by a lot. Okay, so the fog is like over cranked. It's 40, where the highest default is 1. I just want to see what it does. And then maybe this is like weaker to 15. And I think maybe that works, but okay, let's just make this like really ridiculous, 200. Okay, so now I know it does, and I don't like it. Let's bring that down. Okay, some atmosphere. It lights this sky up too. So it looks a little wet. I think that's okay. Now we can have them back up in the beginning of the shot. Yeah, that candle is really distracting now. Like, why is it there? So I try not to give up on it. Maybe if I push it back. Nope. What do you think, Miguel? Is that candle distracting?
I am actually not paying attention at all.
Take a look.
Let me see. On the right, yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna go by this light.
You could put the candle against the wall on the right hand side, but not that close up.
Okay, let's try to. I'm just afraid of blocking mail in the following shots, but
Oh, I see.
trying doesn't hurt.
Oh, these are funny.
What?
Damn, I enjoy seeing you guys try stuff out and see if it works. That's all we do is like, does this work? No. Does that work? No. Does this work? No. I wish we were like that precise, or we're like, this is gonna work no matter what.
Yeah,
Like,
or is it just it's so
what
not
about this?
true?
No.
Yeah.
What about that? No. What about this? Bobby, what's up, Bobby? Ethan, what's up, Ethan? Cot looks cute. Yeah, he does look cute.
I think he's cute.
Is that Ethan with two? Does Ethan have two different avatars?
I don't know. I guess so. He was on. It depends where he's coming from.
Maybe Ethan has an evil twin brother. Let's see.
I don't know what's up with this candle. It doesn't light well.
All right, let's see.
So I'm going to replace that candle. What I'm looking for in this candle is to see like some light scatter like this back here on this one, right here. And I can't seem to get it with the other candle. I think it has to do with the way it was modeled. It's not modeled with the right thickness. So subsurface will detect the thickness of your object. And if it was just kind of modeled evenly thick or just too thick, it just won't do it. So this one's doing much better. I can bring the light down. It's too high. and the flame is really high. Okay. It still gives it like a really hot spot. So let's try bringing it down some more. Okay, that might be fine. It's still really white back here. This is how it goes. It's wiggle it around, spinning this can until it looks the way I think it should look. Yeah, so the scattering is, it's kind of weird how it behaves. Maybe I'll just try to fake this. Like, I want that red glow, but I don't want it to be so bright, but it's fine. Okay, that's fine. There's a bright spot over here. There's these things out of focus over here. I like those effects. Let's get caught in the beginning. I want to see how this fill looks. I think maybe that's fine. Maybe here, I kind of wish the light hit him a little bit more. Like he blows out a little bit, but I like it. Okay. So maybe what I'll do here, let's throw this in. And add transform. It'll key it here. And then when he gets over here, if I liked it over here more, and then key it here, and then just have it like subtly move with him. I don't know if Mayo's too invisible back here. What do you think?
Let me see.
Probably, right?
You can put a little light on him.
Yeah. Let's finish caught first. So I think a little extra fill here.
I got caught up in animating thumbs.
Yeah. Super exciting. I'll try to hit Mayo with this. Now the fog looks I don't know if you guys can see that ray, but it looks really weird. I'll just leave it for now, actually. And I'll make this much brighter so I can see. No, let's actually reset it to something normal. And then try to hit Mayo with this light. Turn it on and off. Okay, so it's like hitting his forehead and that wall. I can't really tell when I look at it like this because everything is white. That's just how it looks. So that's how I'm staring at it. I can make it so it doesn't hit the wall as much. I can change the attenuation radius. Make it shorter so it hits his head. Let's make it movable. So now it's lighting. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's probably very small on everyone else's screen. It's lighting the top of his hair, which is a good thing because I think the hair always has to be lit. So if the hair goes into indirect lighting, it looks really messed up. It looks like metallic and like glowing. It looks really weird. So the hair always has to receive some kind of lighting.
Oh, you're talking about how the hair just, yeah, how it glows in darkness. It's so odd. That's such a weird thing.
Yeah. Let's make the light a little bit more.
It's like part of its shader is like a emissiveness.
Well, it's like metal. I don't know how to describe it. I think this looks all right. I don't know. Miguel, take a look.
Let's take a look. Play it.
Maybe it's too bright.
No, I think it's good. Can you lower the mount? Is that light hitting the floor? What's illuminating Mayo?
No, it's
Okay.
from up here. So it's chandelier light.
Okay.
This one though might be hitting the floor, but I feel like I don't know. I kind of like it. Now it's really dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it looks good.
Do you think he's too bright on his face?
No.
It feels like a little bit yellow though.
Well, it's candlelit.
Yeah, but maybe more orange. So what if I take? I'm using a temperature at 3,000. Yeah, 2,500 might be better.
It's Ethan says it's its evil twin.
Yeah,
I figured.
Evil Twin is probably still nice.
So you mean you had an evil twin that could help us, and you guys could both work at the same time? Get 2 for 1.
Okay,
Do
there we
you
are.
render out in passes? No, there's no compositing on our Unreal stuff, which breaks my heart because compositing is my favorite part of the entire process. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is it for this shot, and it's not bad. Cot's already pretty done. Again, his eyes have gone through a lot of change. His face has gone through a lot. Mayo, I need to costume him. Kind of lazy to do that, especially when you see it like that. But it does make a difference, especially when he has his cape. So if I jump over to my scene right here, this is me prepping for it. There's all kinds of weird things I've done to get that to work. I pulled in this part of the wall. This is just Mayo at 0. And this is the animation for that shot. So what I'm going to do now is I've actually moved everything in this group here. So if I zero this out, it's actually really, really far in space over here. Okay, but I can't sim it like that. I have to sim it closer to the origin. And that's why I have this here. And you can see that grid, that's the origin. And this is that's just how it is.
What the hell is that?
So I've already exported that. This is Mayo
Okay.
falling down.
I see.
And now I'm going to export this mesh for contact. I don't know if I need it. It's just because there's a cape and I don't think it matters actually, because he's so out of focus that if his cape collided into a wall, no one would notice. So I'll just save it and use it if I need it. I'm going to export the first frame, and the frame starts at 380. So when I get all this stuff from animation, I don't have any part in that. Miguel overlooks all the animation and performances. I just get this and I check which frame it starts at. So it's 380. So then my timeline is adjusted to fit this. So I know what I'm working with. And I'm going to export the first frame. And just give me 1 second. We'll call this Mayo. Are you all right? Because that's the name of the shot. Pose 380. So I know the frame. And then I'm going to start up Marvelous. Which I won't update. Always very careful about updating. any software, not particular to any software. It's just sometimes new things like break other things, or like 50% of the time it does. And if I'm happy with one version, I want to just keep that. I'm looking for Mayo's clothing. So this should be his clothes. I always double check that it has the UVs because I have so many versions and I just lose track. If these don't have UVs, then it's kind of useless. And now what I'll do here is I'm going to import that pose. Pose frame 380. I'm going to bring it in as a morph target. It's going to morph over 99 frames, as many frames as I can get. I've done this times before. You can see there's collision. Sometimes when it's doing this, like look at his feet. They like disappear in his body. And then the clothes can fall off because the feet become nothing. But it looks like it's making it. Well, it's got some problems. Okay. So it just needs, let's just let it finish adjusting. So once it sims into the pose, there's always a snapback. So you gotta run the sim until it can go back. And his pants definitely has some funny issues. So I'm gonna grab his cape and his coat, which is up here, and I'm going to deactivate it and then hide it so I can see what's up with his pants. I'll grab this and I'll freeze it so that this doesn't move and I can just address the problem. I don't think there's actually anything wrong. He just has hammer pants.
MC Hammer pants.
Yeah. I think that the knees are maybe too low. This is a very difficult pose because it's very crunched up. I'll grab this model and change the skin distance to 1. And I want to get rid of any inner penetration like this. Although I might be able to get away with it in the shot because he is so blurry that it doesn't matter. But if you start it with where it's jiggling, where you guys saw it was like dancing around, you're going to have that jiggle in your simulation. And the way to get rid of it is just to get the cloth to stop misbehaving, which is usually like some interpenetration problem. Now let's get the coat in. Sometimes it's kind of annoying. Let's show 3D pattern. Let's activate. So the buttons really suck. This one, I don't know if I can get rid of jiggle. I might just go, that's good. But once the buttons get like interpenetrate like this, and you see how they're dancing around, your cloth sim is like basically stuck with that crap. So that's the stuff that's kind of hard. Like it would just like move around weird, and you just look at your shot with like buttons that don't ever settle properly. I don't know what to do. I think I'll just leave it because it's out of focus, and I'll worry about the shots when that's a problem. And I'll come up with some messed up solution, which is usually just very manual and lame. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. So Mayo, are you all right? So now that he's in, all I've done is gotten him into the shot. Now I need to bring in the actual animation, which I exported as an alembic earlier.
Oh, crap, what happened
Okay, and this one will have more stuff, like his hair geometry. So if his coat's like flying around, oop, his hair is not here. It's fine. It's out of focus. We'll just let it go.
I just imported Cot, and for some reason, all his clothing came in as black. It actually looks really awesome. Take a look. Let me just show it real.
Yeah, play.
So awesome.
So maybe
He's like the Sith Lord. His eyes look.
he like falls into the darkness.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I like it. All right.
So I have to adjust my frame rate.
The anti-Cot. In He-Man world, it's anti-Eternia. He-Man, anti-Eternia Cot. Anti-Cot.
Okay. The frame rate always comes in at 30 frames per second, which we never use that frame rate. So I always have to adjust the animation. Current start. I did this all wrong. 380. Starts at 380, ends at 625. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we have that in here. And I'm going to change, I'm going to save this. Sometimes there's this bug in this version where it doesn't save the Alembic file. It's definitely a bug because other versions do. And when you open up the file again, it's just not there. So maybe I will update because it might fix that. I'm going to set this to animation. So this is simulation quality. I have my frame rate correct. And what I do on something like this, I start with simulation quality at 10. This is really awesome. It used to not work before. So the higher you increase this, slower it takes, but it handles more things. Now, before I actually animate, I'm just going to run this because what's happened is when you change the simulation quality, you also change your simulation behavior up here, right? So the cloth has to readjust. You can see it's actually moving right now. So it's readjusting to this. And you want to run that before you actually sim this because this adjustment will get simulated. And so you'll have like a wobble, like the cloth will kind of bounce and shake. So I just let it run for a little bit until it's relaxed. And then I don't have a weird bounce or shake because it is running some different setting, right? And the cloth needs to change to that setting, if that makes sense. I will save this and it will take a bit because there's an Alembic file. And that Alembic is, let's see how big that is. I'm always looking at this, the sizes of everything. The downside with Alembic in Unreal is that it imports all of it and it becomes, it makes your project really large. But the thing is, that's what we need. Okay, so I'm trying to go back to my simulation setting because I need to turn off the floor. Because he goes into the ground. So he goes below this and the clothing will just explode off of him. And let's just run this. How do you get the buttons to not flip with animation? Ever just delete them, add them later? Yeah, sometimes. So sometimes the button will be stuck and no matter what you do, you just keep pulling it and it will just spin around. It's like lost its mind. I just delete it and put it back. It's actually simulating pretty well. And it has to do with this higher quality. That's quite a bit of frames. It looks like the cape is not a problem. It's not going to hit the wall, which is over here, and it's not hitting his head, which is fine if it does because we never see it. But I'll just wait for that. And there's not much I can do. I mean, at this point, I usually don't run anything heavy. So if I let this sim and I start doing like Unreal stuff, Unreal's heavy, right? It feels like this gets affected. Even though this is CPU based, I don't use GPU processing in Marvelous. It still feels like it bogs things down. What you doing, Miguel?
I fixed the finger stuff that was going on. And I'm looking at it in Unreal, and like literally you can't tell the difference at all.
Show it. At least show something. I got nothing to show.
But just this. I mean, there was a pop there that isn't there anymore. You know, the hands. The thing that blows my mind about hands is unless you're like in the middle of an argument or like pretty much that's it. Like unless you're being mad or you're in a fight or something, and probably not even that much in a fight, your hands don't move as much as you think they do.
Yeah.
That's the thing that was blowing our mind with all this motion capture data is when we look at the hands, we're like, how come her hands are not moving? Her being our motion capture actress, and we realize like you walk around and start looking at people in the mall walking around, and you're like, freaking hands don't move that much.
No, I mean, if you walked around and you saw someone doing like crazy thing with their fingers, you think they're crazy.
Yeah, so there's like if they're arguing, if they're talking, they're trying to communicate or make a point, then their hands are moving. But if not,
even then, the fingers don't move a lot. You're doing hand gestures, but you're not
well,
like
they move much more compared to like normal everyday stuff. Like your hands just are not moving.
hands are lazy.
Yeah, it's kind of
So-
crazy. So I did put a little bit of, I try to put a little bit of movement in there, but
Yeah, I mean, I like this more now. He looks really freaked out because he is, because this body is talking. This dead body is talking. His eyes are like,
this is my facial performance right there. Look at that. Boom.
yeah, that's
What a
Miguel.
star. What a
Miguel's
star.
acting
Yeah.
on the face, but he looks freaked out because, well, any kid would look freaked out if there's a dead body talking to him.
I just like that Mayo is not just telling him that no, he's don't listen to him. Then he gets pissed off when he looks back at Zort. Like, look, he puts an angry face. Like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Don't you dare say that about my friend.
Yeah, Mayo is Mayo.
Yeah.
He's cool, but he can't win against Zori.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really know that. So yeah. But I will get to those shots.
The thing that's crazy about this shot, I didn't even tell you, is I actually have it playing in reverse.
You do?
Yeah. So
You brought in the limbic backwards?
this is the way it really should play. Like this.
How did you flip that in Maya?
No, in Unreal. So
Oh.
in Unreal, I just brought this in there and I was like, hey, he's not doing any dialogue. I was like, I want him to react a certain way when Zort says he's a loser. So I was like, what if I just grab the geometry cache and I just press reverse?
Oh,
So
that's
down
cool.
here. So if I press reverse off, you could see.
I need that new limbic so I can do the cloth sim.
Which there, you see, it is kind of cool. Like he does, but I thought that movement was too big. He does look more traumatized at the end, but I didn't know how I felt about that quick turn.
He looks traumatized the whole time, so it's fine.
Do you like that turn or not?
It depends what the previous shot is. I think.
Well, this is him being told that he's a failure.
Yeah, I don't know if that connects though in the edit in that turn because he does a slow turn in the beginning.
That's the problem.
Previous shot. So
That's the problem.
Yeah, so I don't think you need it because it will be like you'll be doubling it up.
Like I just felt like this was enough. Like here he's like kind of cowering a little bit. And then the last few frames you can see it locks because we don't actually go that far into the animation.
Yeah. I think if you can get those changes on the head turn, like if you could transfer the animation, we can get this sequence done.
Let me try it right now.
But I like that performance much more.
So the hands are all cleaned up. So just what I ended up doing, let me just show real quick. It's not that it's very technical at all. So I just went into the original motion capture data, and you can see if I select any one of these curves in controls, you can see there's a shit ton of points. There's a point in every single frame. Okay. So what I did with the fingers, because I knew that there was one, not a lot of movement in them. And there was also like a jerkiness. I went in and I went to curves and I simplified the curves, and that just kind of got rid of the curves in every single frame. And I could still clean this up more. Like you don't need this one and this one and this one. Okay, so that was the first thing I did. And then the second thing I did is I would do that. And then I would use the Butterworth filter, which is a smooth filter. So that simplify curve, smooth, simplify curve. And I just kept doing it until it did it. And then I would find any peaks that were synced up with like any pops. So I would look at this and try to see if there was any weird pops. There might be a pop here or there. No, they're pretty much all gone. But I would try to find the pop. Let's say right here, you could see this is not a pop anymore, but you could see that there's definitely like a movement there. So I would just come over here and try to find where that is. And you could see it's probably this right here. Yeah. So right here. So for example, I could grab this and delete these and then have it sync up a little bit smoother over here. But I ended up, I'm going to leave this because this actually worked. And again, I got rid of the pops. This is more like, this is the result of getting rid of, but there was some really obnoxious pops before. So you can't see it at all anymore. And he looks traumatized. And it's a cool thing is you could come in here, like I said, and just reverse it and try to see if you get the performance. And I just wanted to time it with you're a failure. You know he's saying that because that's where Mayo turns to say, don't listen to him. So I wanted that head going backwards right there in that blink. So he got punched in the stomach emotionally, and then he cowers. And then Mayo's like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. I'm going to mess you up. So, yeah. So save all. And I'm going to save this here. So that shot that you're talking about is Shaw's Sword Hallway. I think it's this one.
My claw sim just finished, but now I'm exporting it, and it takes a bit. As this one has a lot. The shot here has a ton of frames.
Okay, so let's see what's going on here.
I can show you guys what the claw sim looks like.
So this is the scene that is in question. So you could see.
Oh, your frames, your anything stopped showing. There you are.
So you can see it is caught approaching, saying Zort. You could see the lip sync there, Zort. And then he turns around to Mayo. Mayo's not buying his bullshit, so he pulls out his sword, and Kott's shaking his head like, "What are you, crazy?" You can see a lot of tearing on the cloth because this is not the final cloth. And then they hear a few things. And I actually had a dream about this last night. So when I dream of something, that means that was the last thing I thought about. So which is the best. When I go to sleep with a problem, it's the best because I have nightmares about it all night, and then I figure out what the solution is. So we are gonna have Zort have like 2D animated lightning as he comes back to life here, and not only when they turn here, you're gonna see a red light hit them, like, but like a malfunctioning light bulb kind of light, right? And when they turn around, you're gonna see Zord looking like this one moment in Return of the Jedi. Let me show you. It's only like a few frames. So let me find it.
I like your references
Why?
because they're fun.
So it has to be just these few frames here. Right here. Look at this. That's it. It's one of the best moments of all time. Right there. Bah.
So he does that. I think that's cool. When I watch this and it's got that skull, that's super cool.
Oh, it's the best. That's all 2D animation too.
Yeah, that stuff is so cool.
This movie, I don't care. Everyone says it's the lesser of the three, is a freaking masterpiece. I love this movie. So that effect, so they would hear crackling sound and the red light. They turn around, they turn together, caught slow motion. There's laughter coming in, and then they see Zort there laughing like a psychopath. So problem here is this was done with the old rig. So now we have to see if this propagates at all with the new rig, which has the better shapes. So we're about to find out.
Yeah. I got my clothsim done. I don't know if I should share. So here it is. I brought it into Maya. It looks pretty good. Like the quality of the sim is like really nice. Just the way the cloth is moving. Which is all out of focus. But I did it. You know, I thought maybe the cape, just a sense of gravity. I don't think it's going to make a difference though. So I'll just export this. But I can pass it back to you once I export this. It's going to take a bit. Just checking my frame, my range, make sure it's good. And I'll call this Mayo. All right, cloth. Okay. That's the new rig, right?
Yeah. So there is some things that look weird, like the eye right there.
Yeah. But it's just because his eye line is up to up, right?
No,
No?
this was hand animated.
Yeah, I know. Is that difficult to adjust?
It's a redo.
Is it a total redo?
On the face, of course.
What does it look like before? Can you play the footage? Go back. But it starts before that, right? From here.
Yeah.
Shakes his head. Maybe I should just shot model it. What's the last frame look like? When his mouth opens? It just opens.
That to me, like I know the shapes are not perfect, but that looks better than
Yeah, like what's his mouth doing? I think I just shot model it. I'll just shot model the lips. And I just think at the end, just have him raise his brows a little bit.
like, you know, like
No, I'd rather just shot model it.
yeah.
'Cause I think it doesn't look bad in the first place.
It's just can't you just blend in the lips from the new shapes?
Yeah, I can. It should actually work.
Okay.
And then it shouldn't be that hard. Just the first time it might take a little bit because I'm just figuring it out.
It's all in the eyes. The eyes are what's looking so weird.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I think I might be able to do it really easy. I haven't tried it yet, but it could be super easy.
So
We have a question here. How do you bring in the face capture and sync it with audio?
that's a good question. It's a freaking nightmare is what it is. So
Do I have the alembic? I do, right?
what is this? Best viewers. This is just, let me just get rid of this.
It's just spam.
Okay. Okay. So how do I do it? I mean, I could just show you. I could just show you real quick. Let me show you. So let me just open up caught rig here. Okay, so here I have this completely raw. Okay. So Rob is asking the question. So I'm gonna grab my phone. I'm not gonna record this because, but I'll just show you. So I'm just gonna open up this program. I'll show you it right now. This right here. And that's basically exactly what I'm doing over here. So I'll just say like, hello, Rob. Let me do one bigger expressions. Hello, Rob. Okay, so I just recorded that. Now I'm going to email myself. It comes with two things, a video file of what I just recorded and an MCPX file. So I'm not going to bring in the video file, but I'll come over here. I just emailed it to myself, so it's already in my inbox. Okay, it's already there. So I'm just going to download that. So you can see the file sizes are microscopic. If I have the audio file, I'll come over here and load it up. So I would just come to audio, import audio. I don't have any audio here, but the rest is still the same. Come over here. And load up the file I just got. Which is this one right here. That's it right there. Okay. I'm going to set the offset to 0. So you can see he's saying, hello, Rob.
That is pretty cool.
Okay. So I created this tool with ChatGPT. So I'm not a programmer at all. And this took me a few hours just back and forth with it. And you could select any of the characters in the film and it will automatically find that character in your scene file. And now you have the slider that allows you to offset that Mocap X file. So now if I had the animation starting at frame 70, I would just use this slider and sync it up so that the mouth starts moving right around there. And then I could manually like adjust it. So it's not frame 53, it's negative 51. So you could fine tune it at that point. But instead of manually typing this thing over here, which is such a pain in the ass, you could just use this slider and it automatically adjusts it and you could find it really, really quickly. This part, as stupid as it seems, used to be the part that would take the longest. So now it becomes very simple. And that's it. So you can see he looks like a little snot there, like.
He looks sleepy too, because your eyes are.
Because I always look stoned. Yeah. So since I always look like I'm half asleep, all the characters tend to always look stoned. So yeah. Even though I'm never stoned, I don't even drink, but I always look stoned.
We record the audio first. So when you're doing this, you're basically listening to the audio and timing, like lip syncing the audio, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so that's a step that I missed. So over here, if I go to like the sound booth, for example, I'll have. Okay, so you can see here is like. So this is the actor talking. Now I have we did do Mocap X recording of all of this dialogue, but we didn't do it that perfectly. So they're looking at a script sometimes, so it loses track or whatever. So what I found that works the best is just kind of come in here and just kind of try to play it over and over and over until I get the timing right, and then I'll just record myself doing that. Right? So these over here, all of these that are synced to, let's say, for example, this. That's how that was done. Now this one over here. That I did that, but my timing wasn't perfect. I gave that to Celine and she adjusted it. So sometimes you do have to just move the curves around a little bit to get it to work. So that's how we do it. But a lot of it is just not eyeballing it because it's just hearing it and then just trying to get it to match. So there is a bunch of stuff that I wish was easier. I wish there was a way to cut the blend shapes up almost like we're cutting edits here and just offset them. Maya has a tool which is kind of allows you to do that, but it doesn't work with blend shapes. So sucks. Because that way I could just kind of do a bunch of different clips, move them. Let's say there's a long dialogue. I could get the timing here, but then I might fuck up the timing between this and this, the starting point. Right. So if I could cut it up and just shift it around, it would be very easy. But I haven't gotten that pipeline to work. Oh, this is pretty funny. So this is like you could actually see the notes that are sent to the animator. So this is a scene that was not working. Actually the exact same scene we're talking about right now. So you could see here, this is how I sent the notes to the animator. They hear a laugh, and then I play this clip up on the top so you could get an idea of the vibe. Mayo turns to see the sound, eyes open, what the fuck is going on? And then you see that. But this is how we would send the notes. You see, I actually slowed down the animation to get the timing more or less how I wanted. And that's like a typical like note giving to animation. So for example, on stuff like this, like his hat here, you can see, give me 1 second. Oh, this is for a different shot. Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. So this is for a different shot, but this is like the type of stuff that I'll like send to animators. Like I need the hands to do this. Right. So I'll record it and send it to them. So yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's time. 2:00. So did that help the lip sync question? Let me see. But you have voice actors that you capture their video. Yes, let me show you. Let me see if I can pull this up. Give me 1 second.
I got my shot done, I think.
Okay.
Class. All right then, I'll go without you.
Let's just do the all right then, I'll go without you. Let's do like 10 versions.
All right then, I'll go without you. All right then, I'll go without you. All right.
So that's that. You could see
Recording.
okay, so interesting note here. You can see here that they are blinking, trying to blink with the clapboard. It's not perfect, but that's how we now could sync the sound to the video, or at least get closer to it.
Are no threat. The moths are no threat. The moths are.
Okay, so let's do some of these are really cool over here.
Recording.
for my queen. Oh, a red crystal.
I think it's more like this one over here. So you're gonna get.
We need some of those little quips.
This is great. Let me see one more.
I will bring them back. They tried to warn me.
So you can see every single clip has an MCPX file. So it literally becomes as simple as this. If I were to come over here, go to COT, come over here, we don't want that clip. The threadlings. And that will now be exactly like this. So you can see if I play this, the blink will be here. There it is. And then it's in here somewhere. So here it is. It's like, all right, then I'll go without you. So the ideal thing for me now would be to grab all of these clips. This is one of the things that kind of sucks is it doesn't allow me to bring in a MP4 file directly. So I have to write this out into an image sequence, which I think I have for like these. So they're written out into a image sequence so that I could bring it into Maya. So if I were to do this, for example, this is actually pretty interesting.
We're past the time now.
Yeah, just 2 seconds. So this is pretty good right here. So you could see. I gotta set this to.
Felt emboldened. Unleash the moth. Okay.
So the problem is this was done to record the audio more than to record the faces. So we're not getting the best view of one side.
Yet, recalling the prophecy's promise of victory, my fear waned. Blessed by the heavens, I stood emboldened. Unleash the moth.
So you can see he has that one lazy eye. The lazy eye is happening because we're not seeing the eye, not because his eyes really half closed. But you can see the timing is perfect.
Recalling the prophecy's promise of victory, my fear waned. Blessed by our queen, I stood emboldened. Unleash the moth.
So there you go. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of tidbits. All right, guys. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to our stream. And thanks to James and Noman and Dell and NVIDIA. Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everyone.
I'll see ya later.